and for our and we're gonna start. I don't know if we're gonna have any more people, but we're gonna have fun. Welcome to Fire Up Connect. This is an amazing business networking. I'm so proud of this group because we get a lot out of this. We get a lot of benefits, and seriously, we're talking about really awesome benefits for being in here. And Paul Matamoros, who is let me change his name here because I know he wants to always have his name there. So let me just do that real quick. So you guys will remember how to call him too.
Just call me Metro. No.
Yeah.
And hi, Dave and Joel and Kamal. I wanted to say hi.
And it looks like we
Hi,
have
Paul.
Jerry coming in also. He's also new. But anyway, Paul Matamoros is an official member of Fire Up Connect. And so far, everyone else is new. I don't know where everybody else are my members. They're all busy making so much money. Okay, let's do this. Hi, Jerry, how are you? You turn on your microphone. We can't hear you. You're still on mute. Hold on. There you go.
Just a little late. Thanks for inviting me.
Yes, and where are you calling from? What city are you in?
Cities.
What is it?
Salt Lake City.
Salt Lake City. Okay.
Love that
Awesome.
area.
Utah.
Okay, so we've got Vegas, we've got Maryland. Kamal, what city again? Georgia, right?
Yeah, Loganville, Georgia, outside of Atlanta.
And I can hear all the kids too.
Yeah.
And Paul is in New Mexico, and we are recorded right now. So again, Fire Up Connect, welcome. And this is where we, let me share you our goals. So we have 1 hour meeting here. It's 3:07, but we can extend for another 7 minutes. We try to accomplish all these goals. One is just to really have a good, effective introduction. We really don't want to be solicited. We wanted to get to know people and build business relationships if we can. I mean, Joel knows me for so many years, so I don't I don't have to establish my relationship. He already knows me. And then we also wanted to have a section where we can have some sort of an idea of your expertise. So the first part of our meeting is actually a Q&A, so we can have a good introduction. And then the second part is the expert section where we talk about a specific subject and everybody just give us your perspective. And sometimes, we get a lot of information from that. And then the third part is what we call business share time. This is where you can share a lot of your information, such as success stories, or if you wanted to share a specific challenge that you're dealing with and you wanted to, let people know, and maybe they can give you recommendations, or a specific goal and let us know your time frame of completion. Okay, so I think with those information, we are able to find some good, things that we can work together. And part of it is, the last part is really trying to find collaboration or any kind of opportunities that we can all work together, because this is, I know we're all strangers right now. Part of it is to establish that relationship and, find ways to collaborate. Okay, is that good with you guys?
Love it.
Yes.
And I love that I'm the only woman here. So, sometimes it's all women and then there's only one man. It's just how it works. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, this is different now. Thanks, guys, for coming. Because usually I'm here with a lot of women, even though I feel great, but we need some good guys here.
Yeah, okay. So I'm going to go ahead and start the question, and you have about, 1 to 2 minutes to answer. And then you get to ask someone else, and then I will be the last one to be picked, okay? So I'm going to ask Jerry. Jerry, can you please tell me the highlights of your business that people get excited about? And I'm going to go ahead and change your, go ahead.
Well, right now, as you know, or may not know, I'm a consultant on many areas, but I have particular emphasis in pharmaceutical and nutraceutical arenas. That's a tough question. I mean, highlights of my business, since I'm a consultant, I think the highlights are what I've done in my career that made me make a decision to become a consultant, because I helped to start and grow a lot of what were nothing businesses that turned into monstrous companies that most of you would be familiar with if I threw names out. So I'm just proud of my background, and I think those are typically the highlights when I'm talking about what I do to potential new clients and customers.
Okay, what's your background? Just quickly, your
Well,
background.
as an example, I was one of the founders of Airborne, the over-the-counter immune product. It's used as a herbal supplement to help build up the immune system.
Okay.
And I was one of the founders of Prestige Brands, which is now a multi-billion-dollar OTC pharmaceutical company. And I'm not part of those organizations anymore. We grew them and we sold them off to other larger companies, but I'm proud of being part of those kinds of enterprises and building businesses and turning them into something big.
Awesome.
So, yes.
Wow. What about
Gary,
Okay.
Gary, what was like when you look at those like crazy ass, really like unbelievable brands, what were some of the main key
Hey,
ingredients?
David, I hate to interrupt you.
Yeah.
Sorry, but it's actually Jerry's turn to ask question, and then you'll have your turn to ask question and pick someone else. How about this? Why don't you write your question later?
I'm writing it down.
Okay,
I'm
write
good.
it down, and then once we go through this process, and we'll go back to you. Okay, is that all right?
I love it.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I want to have a structured meeting, so we're very wise with our time. Jerry, now it's your turn to ask someone else, if you can.
Oh, so I just asked someone else a random question?
Yes, whatever you want. It's your time.
Okay. Not knowing the backgrounds of all the individuals who joined today, this is kind of just a catch-all for me right now. Let's start with Joel. Joel, what's your background? And I kind of like the question that was posed of me. I'd like to know what your claim to fame is. What really perks people's ears and eyes up?
Well, I'll tell you what I do, and then I can tell you my claim to fame. I have a company that does business introduction. So I introduce professionals to each other. Been doing it 28 years. I know over 18,000 professionals personally that I've met. And the whole idea behind that is to replicate past successes, meaning that, I'm not a connector to tell you who you should meet. People tell me who they want to meet. And since I know so many, I could vet them and find the ones that can refer work to you. So instead of going to an event and say, I'm here to meet tax attorneys, and there's no tax attorneys there, so why am I here? Well, I don't know where they are, So my claim to fame, I was on CNN in 1996. You could see it on my joelbash.com website. So, people have never heard of this, and, Maria was joking. It's like, oh, Joel, I know you, but I don't know what you do. And, and I made the joke, well, no, nobody else does either. It's just kind of an esoteric sort of business that I fell into because I had my own networking group in Beverly Hills for 10 years. And I realized that people aren't here to network. They're here to meet a certain type of person. So why don't I just make introductions? I can help people a lot more. So that's what I do.
Okay. Thank you, Joel. Now, your turn. Who do you want to pick?
Okay. All right, David, tell me, because I do a lot of work in real estate. So you mentioned that you also do some work in real estate. So what do you do there?
Yeah, sorry, I had to cut off my my mute button there. So, my primary focus is on software as a service business, but I recently exited a SaaS business and then started to get into doing making some investments in real estate, just because it made sense to kind of diversify my portfolio. And so that's primarily what I'm doing in investments is just kind of spreading out the love a little bit and taking on some opportunity in VRBOs, right? So I'm in a Four Seasons area. So Deep Creek, Maryland there's a lake, there's a ski resort, there's plenty of places to run from a like running and hiking kind of thing. So that's why I got into real estate. But I'm an idiot when it comes to real estate by all stretch of the imagination. I'm completely a neophobe on that whole thing.
All right, David. Now your turn. You still have Paul or Kamal. So who's your pick?
What do I have to pick either? Can I not go after Jerry? Because I'm dying to go after Jerry.
I will have to get through the process first, Kamal or Paul, and then you'll get a chance to ask Jerry again later. Okay? Is that
All
right?
right. Well, then I'm going after Kamal because, like, selfishly for me, I have 3 kids. I have a 21, an 18, a 12-year-old. Super focused on my 12-year-old because he's like completely transformed my parenting into sports. And so after realizing that Kamal is like, hankered down into soccer land, dying to understand, like, how does he find the time to like dedicate to his kids' sports, but at the same time provide for his family?
I love that question, David.
Yeah.
All right, Kamal.
Man, David, that is a great question, man. Thanks for asking. I think that's really the essence of who I am. Like, I think the question you asked is the essence of who I am. Like even business and things like that, I do because I want to have life moments that I'm not worried about the cost of them, what people I really care about. What I did was, to answer your question, I was in franchise services for the past almost 10 years with Little Caesars. That's where I worked. And I was able to get a Amazon delivery service partnership. So I launched that in October. It took me about 3 months to hire and train the managers and the drivers. And for lack of a better word, it's on autopilot now. So that's freed up my time to watch my children excel at soccer. So that's what I've been able to do. So that's claim to fame, if you will. Delivering the packages you guys order all the time.
All right.
You know what? I gotta love it. It's weird. Come on, because our paths have crossed. So Little Caesars, and I think Little Caesars Pizza, right? So
Yeah.
They were a huge client of mine in my last company. I love them. I love everything that family is all about, inclusive of, just their support of Detroit and trying to bring back Detroit, and everything that company is all about is phenomenal. I love them. So every menu board, every digital sign in every Little Caesars Pizza across the globe was controlled by my company, my last company, Industry Weapon, that I just sold. And that Ilitch family is like, nobody understands how unbelievably impactful that family has been and on a lot of families throughout decades. And so it's awesome that they had an impact on your family, because they had an impact on my family. And I just love them. So awesome. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, you're welcome. Maria wouldn't allow us the time to talk about them. So, but you're absolutely right. I agree.
No, we will just follow the process. And this is your first time. And
no, I don't want to take over. Yeah, I'm visiting, and I'm getting invited, hopefully. So.
All right, so your turn, Kamal, to ask question to Paul. Just trust me,
okay.
It's gonna be good for you guys.
Oh yeah. Yep. I do feel like that Paul could go on for 24 hours if I ask what's his claim to fame, but I'll ask him the same question. Paul, what is it that you do that adds value to your circle of influence?
Well, that's a great question. I think now in this time of my life, I care about how I'm affecting people. It's not like before where I'm in real estate. If you see the bridge behind me, because I'm from San Francisco and I still have business out there, real estate business. But as Marie did say, I do have a business in Rio Rancho, specifically commercial broker out there. But with economic development and a huge project, the Civic Center Plaza of Rio Rancho. And when I say the Civic Center Plaza, it is a Civic Center Plaza because it is relatively a new city, about 40 years old. And if you guys know New Mexico, high desert, well, Rio Rancho is just north of Albuquerque, and we're about 45 minutes south of Santa Fe. And it's a city that's up and coming. Their motto is the city of vision, beautiful vistas out here of the mountain. And you know, a lot of sophisticated, if there's not too many, but the hospital, the Center of Excellence as far as orthopedic, UNM is out here. These are the institutions that are in the Civic Center Plaza, and literally on both sides of Civic Center, City Hall, I should say, is just a blank slate. So we had a meeting yesterday with the city, and then we met with the mayor and the city manager, with my architect. And I think now we're in the process of now trying to get the game plan going, and we're going to be working on some schematics. And I think this is going to open up some opportunities. So the reason why I say that now I focus on, I think you get to an age where you start to think about people more, you know, and you want to not only be of service, but really you want them to have a good experience with you. And just being, when we were at that meeting with 4 city officials, it seemed like, you know, what can we do and say to let them know that really, not only do we want to be advocates of the city, but really this is what we're in it. I'm in it. I mean, if I only told you how much I'm in it and how many years I've been at this, it would be, you know, so it's just trying to convince them, and, you know, that they have a partner with us. And so that's my thing. And then I'm a happy grandfather. My boy just had his baby. My grandson is 5-6 days old, cute as a button. And I can't wait to see him in San Francisco. And also I think I might be seeing some friends in Italy here a couple months. But anyway, that's me.
All right. Okay, Paul, you get to ask me a question again. Oh my God, this is like
So Marie, when are we going to drive that James Bond car? What are you up to with this James Bond thing?
this photo is incredible. I mean, it's out of this world. I mean, I swear, I when I connected to the scientist, it was like I was so overwhelmed. I felt like there was just an angel that just blessed me with all of these photos. It was crazy beautiful. Anyway, so that's what the James Bond. We'll see. I mean, I'm planning one in August to have all the real men of real estate, and we're gonna do some filming, and I'm gonna be kind of combining it with like a James Bond theme. So if you guys want to fly to California, you guys are welcome. You can be one of the James Bonds I've had here. I did.
In San Francisco in May, so maybe we can work something out depending on when you're going to do it.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, I did a James Bond photo shoot at the airport with a jet plane, and there's yellow Lamborghini, and there was Maserati, there was like Porsche, and then the guys were all suited up like James Bond, and I brought like a dozen models around them.
Oh, wow.
And they were just having so much fun. I mean, that's crazy. Okay, so David, go ahead and ask Jerry.
All right. So my big thing is, what is the key ingredient to building a big biz, right? So when I hear Jerry talk, right, he has had some really incredible wins with some really incredible brands, and I'm anxious to hear from him. What is that core ingredient that he sees in those big brands that he can see in other companies, or that we should be looking for in other companies that maybe, whether it's private equity, venture capital, savvy CEOs may not see? Like, what is that thing that you see in those folks that they're on the cusp of being great?
Well, there's really nothing among all the different companies. I named two. There's 3 or 4 more that are just as big. I mean, SlimFast was one of them. I was part of when that started in 1984. I do go back that far. None of them have, an ingredient specific or anything. I think to answer your question, marketing was the biggest part of it, and grassroots marketing. Every single brand I was part of, whether it was part of a team or part of the original founding members that started the company, or we got private equity to back the company, which was the case in many cases, it always came down to how the brand evolved and grew to be what it became before we sold it off to some mega company. And it really was grassroots marketing, and grassroots marketing is really word of mouth. It's people love to talk to each other, and that's the basis to all those brands. It was word of mouth. One person told another person told another person. I mean, Airborne is the epitome of that type of thing. It wasn't some fancy schmancy campaign, although we had some pretty unique campaigns. But really, it was marketing, and more specifically grassroots. And I'm a big fan of grassroots marketing. A, it's inexpensive. 2, it's probably the most underrated form of marketing in the universe. But more importantly than marketing, the common thread among all the companies I've been part of that were successful is the people. They were all small companies, but they had cream of the crop people who had one linear common thread, and that was passion for what they did. I just think behind every successful company or product or anything in any industry, more than the product itself solving a problem or a solution to something that wasn't thought of before, those are always successful products. But it's the people. It came down to the people that made the company. And I have to say that about every single one. The people built the company. And their common thread was they were passionate about what they did. But there were other things. I mean, I mentioned grassroots marketing. There's a number of things that made them successful. But I'd have to say people.
Awesome. I believe that. Who wants to add to what Jerry just said?
I would just like to add, Jerry, would you say that the grassroots marketing worked because the company was good, and because if it wasn't, people just wouldn't be talking about it?
I would think so. I think so. Yes. I mean, to put your theory to the test, some of those companies had successful products, multiple brands. I mean, Airborne was a singular brand. Many of my companies had multiple brands, and they were not all great products. I mean, they weren't doing anything different than anyone was doing. And in fact, maybe they weren't even as good as some other products in similar categories or segments, but they were strong products. And I'd have to say that it was the marketing, it had a unique appeal to consumers. It was the way we went out and marketed the brand. And it was that grassroots campaign and, experiential activity, getting out there in the trenches. If you live on the West Coast and there's beach events and there's beach concerts and there's nighttime fire pits on the beaches, or you're back on the East Coast, or you're in a city that has winter sports. I mean, getting involved in the communities and the events and the activities that take place in the local communities, tying into all those experiential activities. I think those all tie to grassroots campaigns. They're inexpensive. They're not, traditional marketing or means or media, or now we're in a digital age. They weren't necessarily, back then they weren't in the digital. They weren't successful because of digital. I mean, Airborne that was just 5-6 years ago. We sold it, or 7 years ago, and digital was not a big factor in its success at all. Today, we're in a different world. So I can't really speak as much to would things be different today with the digital world we live in. But I really do believe that the people first, and then the marketing, specifically grassroots and experiential marketing, were the foundations for most of the successes that companies I've been part of.
Okay, Kamal, you have any thoughts about what was being shared?
Hey, you guys might get a little background. I'm collecting the kiddos. You know, we were talking about Little Caesars as a brand, for example, which is a huge brand, and it was the family, like he mentioned. His heart was so big, and that was the reason why the company grew like it did. Pizza is pizza, but there is other pizzas. And I happen to like the pizza, but I'm easy with pizza. So that's not why I work there. But yeah, it was the people I was working for that opportunity. And to give you a picture, before that, I was working with Google in the ad sales department before I went there because I wanted to work for him. So talking about people, it makes a world of difference. So he's had some incredible wins, and that's awesome. So it's great to hear his perspective because he's talking from experience. I appreciate it. It's definitely added value to me.
Okay, David, any more thoughts?
Yeah, it's so funny because I was smiling when Kamal was talking because I have such a love like he does for Little Caesars. Unfortunately, I don't agree with his taste in pizza. Their pizza sucks in my mind.
I agree.
But I love Little Caesars. Like I love the company, and like if anyone would diss the taste of their pizza, I'd probably fist fight with them because I love the company so much. And probably a little to Jerry's point, I always feel like when I look for companies to invest in or companies to be a part of it, I always coin it as like bar fight buddies. Like I want a culture that we're going to stand shoulder to shoulder together. And regardless of whether we're going to get our ass kicked in a bar or we're going to beat someone's ass, we're going to stay. We're never going to run out of the bar. We're going to stay together because we have a common goal, a common theme, a common love. And that's like the flavor I get when I think about Little Caesars. I love those guys. I love everything about them. I would never, aside from this like little group, you would never hear me diss the taste of a Little Caesars pizza because I love that company so much that I would defend it, even though I'd probably vomit if I had to eat a pizza from them. But I think that at the same time, kind of to Jerry's point, it's putting together a team that you would get in a bar fight with, and that team would not leave you. And that is, I think that's the infectious thing, right? And like when I sold my company, I feel like I'm an orphan. Like I'm looking for the company that I can go into a bar together and we are going to throw down, and whether we get our ass kicked or not, I'm a part of a team that I believe in. And at the end of the day, I think that's what we're all looking for in life is
Okay.
just to be a part of a team that we're so passionate about, that has a huge goal that we want to be a part of.
Okay,
How many bar fights have you been in, David?
So I was in a punk band for many years. So from 15 to 27, I was in a band called As Big as Love, and then Maud Lang. I let's just say I've been in a lot of bar fights. I haven't won a lot of bar fights.
okay, Paul, what's your thought?
I can't beat that one. That's hilarious. Are we talking about Little Caesars or Punk Rock, or what are we talking about? I lost it.
I just wanted to share.
No, well, actually, Jerry, I really appreciate that you shared this with me, because every time I travel, I make sure that I buy me an airborne cylinder. Yeah, that's fascinating that you say grassroots, marketing is probably one of the best, because that word of mouth really comes in, that I see from those grassroots, the initial lovers of a product, right? And then, and I really like the creme de la creme passionate people of a company. I have to agree with you on that. It's, I think it's getting your vision across to passionate people. And I think like us in our project, I think the architect that we have, he is probably one of those people here. And you give people time, and then before you know it, you see this click, and then that's what I'm seeing with him. So I'm very fortunate. Great information. I appreciate that.
Awesome. Okay. If you guys wanted to just put in any more of your thoughts on chat, feel free to do that. I know Kamal is driving, so we're not going to encourage him to do writing or typing, but feel free to do that. Just give us your feedback about this part of our section from what you learned from everybody. So the next part of our meeting is going to be like what we call business share time. This is where you get to share, 3 things that you wanted to talk about: success story, challenge, or specific goal. I'll start with Joel. And Joel, if you wanted to go ahead and do that, that'd be perfect.
Oh, thank you. With my business, as I say, it's all about replication. So, people say to me, because usually I introduce them to a minimum of 5 people, and they say, well, what's your success rate? And I say it's 100%, because, what people are paying me for, not the business that they get, they're paying me for opportunities. I always equate it to sports, shots on goal, pitches at the plate. If you, obviously the more shots on goal you have, the more chances you're going to score. But most of the time people don't have time to get to the ballpark or the ice rink or whatever to take those shots. So I know I'm a subscriber to the Woody Allen theory of success. 80% of success is just showing up. Just meet the right people, you're going to get business. Your best clients and your best friends start with, hi, I'm Paul, hi, I'm Jerry, hi, I'm David, hi, I'm Kamal. That's how it starts, but it worked because it was the right person. So I just, I'm very passionate about helping people find each other, the right people, as opposed to just meeting people and hoping. It's like, yeah, I want Italian food. I think I'll go to the Mexican restaurant, see if they have anything. You just wouldn't do that, but with business development, there's no other option. Well, I want to meet tax attorneys. Where are they? There's 100 people in the room. I don't even know what they do. Why am I here? It just made no sense to me, to my logical mind. I wanted to give people an option they never had before. To me, the world is about options. I want coach, I want first class, I want business class. I have a choice. With business development, there's no choice. You take what they give you. And this, it's 2022 with all the technology and all the knowledge we have, it just doesn't exist. So I'm on the soapbox every day telling people, hey, yeah, it does exist. I can do it. I'll introduce you. I'm the one who's actually going to do it, as opposed to all the other people say, yeah, I can refer you, and you never hear from them. So that's what I do on a daily basis.
Awesome, Joel. That was awesome. All right, Jerry, you're next.
Am I fielding a question or just throwing out some more information?
Just information about your success story.
No, there's since a lot of people touched upon it, I don't want to continue to talk about the grassroots and the people, but I will add one other thought, and that was quantity. It wasn't the quantity of people. Most people are surprised. You ask me about every day what are kind of the things that perk people up, and I offered up a couple of those. What one other thing does, companies like Airborne were built with 6 people. 6 people. That's it. That's the entire company. And I'm not joking. Yes, we outsourced everything, payroll, we outsourced warehousing, but we built it. We built a legitimate company to a $300 million enterprise with 6 people. So Prestige Brands is a $2 billion company today. We started with one $6 million brand that was washed up at Procter & Gamble, and we purchased it and spun it. And we did that with 4 or 5 other brands. We did that with 7 people, and that included customer service. SlimFast was built with 10 people, and it sold for $2.7 billion to one of the biggest companies in the world, Lever Brothers in Southern California, right? Multi-mega company with hundreds and hundreds of employees in each region, let alone the thousands of employees And they essentially flopped that product and ended up reselling it 20 some years later. It's not about quantity, it's about quality. And it gets back to that people and passion. You find the right person with passion, I don't even need to read the rest of the resume. I don't care if they graduated from high school, college, whatever. If they're passionate about what they do, that's who I want on my team. That's it.
Awesome.
I agree.
Paul, you're next.
I'm next. Can't beat that one. That's great. That's fantastic. Yeah, passion is where it's at. Definitely. I think that's what keeps me going with what I do. And I've had a pretty good life, but and then, you know, just to see the success, I would have never thought that I'd be doing what I'm doing now, as far as being part of the Civic Center, you know, master plan of the city. And so, and I definitely do agree with you, Jerry, with it doesn't matter the quantity, but really it's, you know, of what you have, you could do big things with just a couple of few people that share your vision. And so, yeah, that's, I'm thank you very much for this pep talk. This is probably what I needed. Yeah.
All right, we're gonna move on to Kamal. Are you able to talk, Kamal? I know you're driving. Just be safe.
Yes, I'm able to talk. So yeah, I'm not in the billions yet, but I'm in the right group, right? I don't need to know 6 billion people. I just need to know the 6 here. So I'm following your model. Appreciate all the insight. So we launched a delivery service partnership in October, and at the top of this week, we've delivered over 450,000 packages. So that's my success story.
Awesome, Kamal.
You,
All right,
awesome.
David,
Well,
are you done, Kamal?
Yeah. I'll keep it short. I just want to keep it short. We crossed 450, but yeah, we're pushing the team towards 500,000. So
Okay, cool. All right, David, your turn.
Wow. I don't even know where to go from that. That is like insanity and awesome. I think for me, it's just making relevant connections for me at this point. I've been fortunate that I hit a lot of goals that I had for myself and being able to provide for my family. And now I'm in this like kind of weird state where I'm building businesses and doing certain things. But I'm really looking, I'm really looking to like kind of trip the trigger on the thing that really resonates with me. So I am I'm in Deep Creek right now. I'm a big endurance athlete. So I believe that progress begins when the pain enters. And so I have this like this personal mantra for me that it's all about the pain cave, right? So the fillet of the day begins when the pain comes in. And so I have a consulting group called Brave Cave that focuses nothing more than helping leaders and people who want to like go to the next level enter the enter the areas of their life that they don't necessarily want to enter. And so I have a host of events that I put on every year. One, it's called the Pain Cave Punisher. There's a physical element to it, and then there's a mental element to it, right? So you like in June, we have an event here where we run 5 laps of a 6-mile course that goes 1,000 feet in elevation. You do it 5 times as a team. And then at the end, you actually bring a book to the event that we get around a room and we unpackage that book, and we talk about that relevant book on you and how it actually can affect the person who just chose it. And so we do that. We also have a cycling event that goes with it as well, but it's all about one of the big things that I uncovered over my life, you know, and it all started with the passing of my father, who was like a huge driver for my progress in my life, was that your real progress doesn't begin until the pain sets in. And so whether it's mentally, from a business or a physical standpoint, really kind of pushing people to that element. And so that's why I came to this group, is finding people to help me push past some of my success. So, you know, luckily for me, I don't have to work a 9-to-5 job, but I want to provide more for my family than I've already provided.
Got it.
I want to get better. I want to be in better fitness than I am right now at 51 years old than I was when I was 30. So I want to get around people that have done it. So, you know, you all like inspire me. From, you know, when Marie reached out, like her ability to actually connect with people that she doesn't know was inspiring. Joel's idea of being able to like make connections with people and not like this fluffy bullshit that I hear from typical sales and marketing people. Like, hey, here's a result I'm going to deliver. You know, I think you, Jerry, right? You've been there, done that. You've executed. Kamal's ability to actually showcase his ability to show up for his family and still come to these freaking crazy meetups is crazy. And then, you know, Paul's story about what he's been able to do too is inspiring. And so that's why I'm here. I just want to learn from all of you and try to figure out how do I get to that next level, beyond where I'm already at. And so that's why I'm here.
So David, you know, Fire Up Connect is actually probably the best networking out there. And I would say that with 100% confidence. It's just the way I work. I think about it. And Paul has been a member. He could probably give you some insights of his membership here. Paul, you want to say something about it?
Yes, of course, Marie. Well, I'm probably one of the men in Marie's membership of Fire Up Connect that tries to attend all the time. I couldn't imagine not being at this meeting. I've gotten so much out of it. So, you know, it's the connections that you make. And I think like any membership, it's time, you know, it's what you're adding to it, and yet what you're getting out of it from people, professionals. And I think like what Dave mentioned about Marie, she definitely does have a knack for connecting people, because there's two other platforms that I've been on Marie's. Definitely I'm in the Real Men of Real Estate, but she has another membership company that, well, city officials were there, real estate, you know, high caliber real estate people. That's something I like, right? Because I've been in this industry for, you know, ever since I was a little boy. But so it's a level of people that she can attract and then have them participate, which is fantastic. So yeah, I would really think that it's not your regular, you know, Zoom meeting type. You know, you really do get to share and learn, and I like her format. So
Okay, thank you, Paul.
mhm.
So let me share you what I do. So at least you get some information about me too. So I own a company, Finest Women in Real Estate. I had real estate brokerage in 2005. I had 50 agents working for me. And before that, I was in the healthcare industry for 15 years. And I'm the person that builds decision supports for big hospitals. And I got out of healthcare, got into real estate because I had a lot of properties at that time, and I was really interested in real estate. So I opened a brokerage, and then I got out of the brokerage. I created Finest Women in Real Estate and focused on the marketing company. So now I have produced TV shows. I did a TV reality show for Finest Women in Real Estate. We did a premiere on 2015 here at the ArcLight Cinema in Hollywood. And then I got introduced to a TV talk show host from One America Network. And that's how I started producing the TV talk shows for Finest Women in Real Estate. I did it like about 48 episodes. And then after that, I created the Real Men of Real Estate. And then we had, we aired an episode on NBC on the day of Super Bowl for Real Men of Real Estate. So the accomplishment has gone so much, and I ended up creating Fire Up Connect. I now have radio shows. I have a radio show for Roman and Rosa, which is Paul is one of my hosts. I have Fabulous Lifestyle radio show, and I have Fire Up Connect radio talk shows. I also have magazine publication. And the latest thing that I have is the association that Paul was talking about is the International Wealth Builders Association. That is actually an incredible format right now where we get several cities, gathered in a meeting where they give all kinds of update on their developments, upcoming developments for real estate. And it's really, very valuable information for anybody who wants to learn investment on real estate. So you might want to check that International Wealth Builders Association. Now, I do wanted to take this opportunity. We have 9 minutes, and I want to get everybody's, feedback in terms of the meeting, because I'm also looking for opportunities. I do have someone that connected with me, and he is looking for an investor and somebody who is interested in his, custom cars, which I was talking about earlier, custom cars, custom yachts, watch, airplanes. They have investment opportunities right now, and he's a scientist, and he just gave me everything that he has, and he wants me to take care of it. So there you go. I've got a lot of companies that I'm participating. Like I have a former NFL football player that has a company that I'm a part of for marketing. So I've got different types of opportunities. I also work with Paul in his project. I've connected him to several investors. And I do have other people that I work with in terms of helping them, like what Jerry is and Joel is doing. They're connecting people and they're coaching them. I'm not a coach. I just talk about my experience, and I connect the right people for whatever project it is. So I do get involved in real estate land development projects. And again, I work with Paul, and that's something that I have capability in connecting people. Okay. Now, do you have any questions? Let's do this. Let's get feedback. Joel, what do you think about the meeting so far?
It's fine. Look, I'm in the people business. So I'm all about nice, friendly people, which obviously all of you are. And, people joke and they say, you're a dating service for business, and they start laughing at me. I say, no, I'm in the knowledge business. Look at all the knowledge you've all given me. And that's how I help the world, is because I have, the experience and sophistication to know what questions to ask and put people together properly. So this is, anytime I can meet nice, friendly people in business, it makes me stronger.
Awesome. All right, Jerry, what about you?
I was just, trying to wrap my arms around this hour and my big takeaway, and I appreciate everything that everyone shared. I mentioned at the onset that I worked in a certain industry, and then I became a consultant, and I became a consultant by default, because when these companies I helped I was part of, in some ways bigger, in some ways smaller parts, but when they ultimately sold, you were out of a job, essentially. So I usually took time off. Sometimes I took a couple years off in between jobs. And after a few times, I started to become a consultant in between gigs, so to speak. And then this last time I walked away from a company, a big company that was getting bigger by the day. And I walked away because I pretty much had enough of some of the minutia that was going on. And I just said, you know what, I'm just going to take my experience and be a consultant. But the point I'm trying to make is, outside of being a consultant for startups and mid-sized companies on different levels, there are a number of companies out there that do what's called expertise consulting. They do these 1-hour calls, and I'm contracted with several of them. Zentro, Verzex, Anthony, GuidePoint. You do these 1-hour consultings, 15-minute consult. You get $150, you get $300. You make a little bit of side change, and they only want to talk to experts in fields, right? And that's great, but that's the whole point of what I'm getting at here. Every single person on this call is so vastly different in terms of what they do and careers they have. And I've gotten just a lot of takeaway from hearing different people's perspectives who are in different industries and hold different jobs, do different things for a living. Sometimes maybe you're better off not necessarily listening to the experts in your field, but talking to people outside of your environment. And you get a lot of different perspectives. That's my big takeaway today. I've gotten a lot of different perspective by hearing and listening to people that aren't in my industry.
Awesome, Jerry. Thank you. All right, David.
Wow, it's hard to follow up from that because I think 100% what Jerry said is fact, right? It's just getting around and listening to other people's perspectives, other people's challenges, other people's wins. That is hugely valuable, and I took a ton out of this collision.
Awesome. Kamal.
Yeah, one of the law of unintended consequences of like an onset of the internet, and then more specifically social media, is it gave everybody an opinion, like whether you was qualified or not. It gave everybody a shot to say, I'm the expert. And when people who talk who haven't done anything, I call those talking heads. They just made them talk well, but they haven't done anything. Just listening to like, the people that's on this thing, it's like even in this hour, I've grown so much and have been pushed even into some of those pain points because you're like, man, he's talking about something, I'm just scratching the surface on. He's done it a million times over. So I'm grateful that I was able to spend this hour with you guys, and hope to continue in the future.
Awesome, Kamal. Thank you. Paul.
I mean, I think everyone said it. It's it is really true. I'm sorry to keep going to Jerry, but I think Jerry, from his experience, he really said it. Sometimes we, and I'll speak for myself. Sometimes during my tenure as what I'm doing, a businessman, that I've always been involved in real estate, sometimes you think that you're an oddball because you are so focused on what you want to do that you probably tend to think that, well, I'm missing something. Maybe, these people in my line of work that have made it, there's something different about them. And then you do hear what they're saying, and it's something like, that. But I think that Jerry said something that really resonates with me, is that I think big companies have really become big because they really tap in to the outside market. That's where they're making a big difference. And so I just think, hey, touche, let's just keep on keeping our hands in other industries and hearing out people, because I think this is where we're going to really become what we want to become, by just listening to people from all walks of life. I think, anyway, that's my take from this thing.
Awesome. All right. Can you guys please put your contact information on chat, and then make sure that everybody saves the chat so you can get hold of each other? And Kamal, if you wanted to just send me a message, and I can take your information and send it to everyone too. Okay, if you're interested in doing that.
Will do. Thank you.
Okay. And then if you guys have any questions about being a part of Fire Connect, because I can tell you that this networking has given me a lot of opportunities, open up so many doors for me. This is where I found some of my successful projects because of the connections that I got from Fire Connect. It's incredible how it looks like it's a simple Zoom meeting, but it's really not, because it comes out with, a lot of good relationship for me. I've been around, I've done so many organizations. I've been a president for so many companies in regards to bringing membership and things like that. And I created this because I felt like this is the perfect format for me to, based on my experience on attending or being a part of other networking organizations. And I feel like there's always something missing there. And the way I have created this is really very focused on the quality type of people, and, the discussion. In 1 hour, I learned so much all about you that I know I'm going to need to contact you for a project that I have, or for whatever I have, because there's definitely some collaboration. And the thing is, we don't want to waste our time, right? We've sat here for an hour, and we might as well get something out of this and get some result. So part of it is, the pursuit of, creating some collaboration. I have almost everything that I can think about in working with you. So let's just, figure out how we can fine tune that and, figure out how we can work together. There's always something for me. And I have connected with so many great people in my life and very, very blessed all the years that I've been in the business industry and have created so many amazing projects. And I love what I do. So you're talking about passion. This is what I love doing, is creating projects with people and seeing the success out of the collaboration.
Marie, I'm sorry to interrupt. Maybe you might want to share too that you come from a family that was in the movie industry too. So that's something that.
Yeah, my grandfather was the founder of karate in the Philippines. And so my mother is the first female black belter, and my dad and my uncle made hundreds of karate movies in the Philippines in the 70s. So I was brought into a world where there's a lot of people around us. So I'm a social butterfly. I have no problem,
I would
saying
have never known.
I have no problem, reaching out to somebody that is a CEO. Doesn't intimidate me at all, and I can talk to president with no problem at all. It's just my, because I feel like I have raised, being around people, so I can connect with anybody. That's why my International Wealth Builders Association, I bring the city officials. I have the former mayor of City of Murrieta last month, and this time I'm going to have the mayor of Canyon Lake, and I have the president of the North San Diego Real Estate Investment Association, and I have a big developer from Orange County. And I always ask, it doesn't intimidate me, or it doesn't stop me from asking what I want or I want to connect with from people. So if you want something, you tell me what you're looking for and I can find it for you. And I can ask. I have no problem asking. And people have a hard time saying no to me, by the way. So just so that you know that. I don't know, Joel, I don't know how much you've known me, because you and I have been connected for years, and you've also connected with me about your son. So maybe you can share some of your thoughts about your connection with me. I don't know. I know that you have learned about all the things that I do. So it's something that you can share with them. And I know people have to share.
Yeah, well, Marie is a go-getter, and no question about it. She's an entrepreneur, so she likes to go into different companies and different industries and share her passion. So she is a go-getter. So she's a doer.
Yeah.
And that's what we all want to be around, doers, not talkers.
Yes, I am very result oriented. I don't, I talk, but I make things happen. I execute plans, make sure it's implemented well. Paul, actually, I got him to be on the radio show. He's in the process of really experiencing the whole radio show. And, that's what we do. I work with people on whatever level they are. And I try to make it, easier for them with all the resources that I have. And Jerry, if you have that talent and the experience of helping companies to be at that level, I definitely would love to connect with you. And of course, Joel, I didn't know what you do. You and I definitely need to connect. David, I've got real estate stuff that you can check. Paul, you should definitely connect with Paul. And Kamal, I probably need to have more time to talk to you, because, I was having trouble listening to you because of the sound that you have. So maybe we might have to schedule a one-on-one meeting. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Is there any questions at all? Comments?
Oh, thank you very much for having us.
All right.
Yes, thank you very much, everyone. It
Good to
was
meet you all.
Make sure
Was
you save your chat.
excellent.
And if you guys wanted to come back for Fire Up Connect, definitely reach out to me. You have my LinkedIn account. Send me a message. We can have a one-on-one meeting, and I can share you everything about Fire Up Connect. It's really not much in terms of membership, but it's really the commitment of coming in and getting to know people. All right.
Okay. Have a good day, everyone. Very
Yeah,
nice meeting you.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you very much. It was fantastic. Thank you,
All right.
Marie, like always, and
Thank you.
Jerry,
Thank you,
awesome.
everyone.
It was very nice. Thank you for sharing.